Hello, everybody. C. Ray Brower here with Your Perfect Home. We have Michelle Johnson with the Hero Loan Team, and we're going to find out a whole bunch of stuff coming up next. And we are back. Hey, Michelle, how's it going today?
Hi, Ray. It's going really well. How are you?
You know, just another day in real estate paradise.
That's right. Yeah, definitely good to be back in California for you, I'm sure.
It was nice getting back to California. That wide range of temperatures and weather in Kansas was quite the thing, 42
Yeah.
hours for a 24-hour drive to get there.
Oh my gosh.
And then when we got there, that day that we got there, the low was 29, I believe, which
Ooh.
was warm compared to my birthday when it was 13.
Oh no.
And then I left 22 days after getting there, or 22 days after leaving to get there. I guess it was technically only 19 days.
Right. Yeah.
That I'd been there. It was going to be in the low 70s. 13 to low 70s. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens within a couple of 24 hours. It's like, you're used to California where it's
pretty much the same,
Yeah.
I mean, we have hot days, we have cold days, but it's very seldom that you have that big of a swing in that short of amount of time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like I said, high 20s when we got there, and 2 days later it was in the 50s. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on with this weather. For sure. Well, I mean, most of the rain here was really just raining everywhere, and it's like we need it, but at the same time, like we don't really
little at a time
like our
is much
sunshine. Yeah, exactly. So it seems like we're getting that it might be over and that we're back to our nice sunny California weather. So hopefully that's
maybe. I don't know. We're supposed to get a little bit of rain here. Possibly tomorrow was first of the week. I think they've ruled that out now, but maybe by the end of the next week, we're supposed to maybe get a little bit up here. I don't know.
A little bit's okay, like you said. A little bit.
Little bit's okay. A little bit. Spread it out over the whole season. Don't get us all our rain in 24 hours.
Right. We're okay with some April showers, but no more atmospheric rivers. Thank you.
Exactly. Which just cracks me up. They call it an atmospheric river now. Back when, in the day, it was the Pineapple Express.
That's right. They're always changing it. It's always something.
Gotta have a new name for everything.
That's right. It's a new time.
Yeah, exactly. So I do want to thank the Hero Loan Team because they helped out one of my mentees get into a home. It was actually his sister he was helping buy, but that was wonderful of the Hero Loan Team. That all went very well and very smooth. And I wanted to say thank you guys for that.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for referring him. And he's such a nice guy and a really great agent. And it's so nice too when an agent can help a family member. And so, because sometimes it can be difficult, of course, to work with family. But he was also really great to work with, nothing but the best marks. And we always say too that in the market when it's taken a really, really long time for a pre-approval to turn into a sale, that kind of speaks to the agent. And Morrow was so quick in getting his offer accepted and getting into escrow. And so it just speaks to how good he is. I mean, he's new to real estate, I believe, but
yeah, he's my mentee. He's just That was
Right.
actually the close of his first transaction.
That's right.
He's now
Yeah.
working on his third.
That's
So
wonderful.
yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
It
he's
really
just
is.
really, he's going to be absolutely great. That's what I think. And
Yeah.
I mean, and he obviously good training doesn't hurt at all.
Thank you.
So yeah, but yeah, he's great to work with. I'm so glad that it went well, it went smooth, and hopefully we can help a lot more heroes in addition to his sister. So
Well, that's your whole thing, is helping heroes, and
that's
that's why we
right.
love you guys, because you're out there
That's
helping
right.
heroes.
We do everything we can, that's for sure, to help them, starting from no fees for our hero clients. So they're not paying that loan origination, loan processing, underwriting fee. Some lenders charge all of those fees. Some people just charge one or two of them. But whatever they're charging, we just don't charge it. So the heroes are going to save a couple of $1,000s right off the bat. And then we're going to find whatever program that we can set them up with. So
Set them up with to help them that much more.
exactly. Yeah.
That's
So
great.
yeah. So if
Great.
nothing else, we can save you a couple $1,000s at closing, but usually we find something else like a lower rate or down payment assistance, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. All the different things that can come into play and help.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
right now is a good time for that for people because of that fine interest rate that we're dealing with right now.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about it, if we're looking on the positive side, is that it's sort of sitting in a stable place right now. I mean, obviously, don't we all wish it would just go down? But at least it's not spiking and then dropping and then spiking and then dropping,
Right.
which before was kind of happening. And then it's like you get excited, you think, okay, this is what my payment will be at this number of housing. And then next thing you know, you find that house and you want to put an offer on it, but now the interest rate has spiked and you're kind of having to do your deductions all over again. So yeah, so it's sitting in one place is really, really good. And like you said, we do have those programs that can kind of help to either lower the rate or cover some of the closing costs. So you can kind of put that towards your monthly payment. And it really, really helps a lot today. But and it's always keeping in mind too that unfortunately, whether we like it or not, most likely those pandemic rates were the anomaly, not the rule. So
well, all we have to do is look historically, and we know that they were not going to be common.
That's right. That's right. So, my idea to stick and stay, like, well, I'll just wait until the interest rates go down. I'll wait until the housing prices go down. We all know that that's probably not going to be very beneficial for anybody.
I was talking to somebody just the other day about just that, about the price of houses coming down, and they've got so high that, they have to come down. And I said, all you have to do is look at history. History seems to always repeat itself. And there's been one time in history that prices fell dramatically. And they fell dramatically for two reasons. First, the lax lending standards that we had at that time.
That's right.
And two would be the buyers acting as if it was a seller's market and bidding prices up and buying everything. We've got over 12-month supply of houses, and they're buying them like we had a 1.5 month supply of houses. Gotta buy a house, gotta buy a house, gotta buy a house. And part of that was being driven, of course, by the lending side, because it was so lax. And I know people that were in the lending industry and saying these things. I know people that were buying then that heard these things, and that was, don't worry, you'll never have to make that big payment.
That's right.
Look how fast prices are going up. In less than 6 months, you'll be able to make $200,000 on this house and never have to. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Right. That's right. Yeah,
the old
and
thing,
not
if
to
it's too good to
mention,
be true.
it probably is. Yeah, not to mention they sort of wouldn't check. They wouldn't really check. So lots of people were able to buy when they maybe shouldn't have been. And so it's like nowadays, like that just really, it can't happen. And so now the only thing that's going to drive down prices is if there was more inventory than there were buyers. And unfortunately, I mean, it's a huge problem, the inventory. We have a much lower inventory than is needed. So prices are not going to drop.
Right. And of course, we started on a little bit of an incline with new houses, which is where that inventory needs to come from, is new houses being built.
That's right. That's
And
the
we
only
started
option.
with it ramping up, and then interest rates came up. And what did they do?
Right. That's right. That's right.
Because interest rates going up is an expense to the builders. And most people don't realize that because they build those houses on credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
and,
Absolutely.
and they're not buying them with cash out of their pocket. They're not building with cash out of their pocket. It's on some kind of a credit program. And the longer that house sits there, the more it costs them.
That's right.
So
That's right.
it's just.
Yeah. And so I guess the short answer is, if I can afford to buy a house, if I can afford the payment, if I can qualify, then now is the right time to do that, especially if I'm paying rent and I'm thinking, well, this is $200 more than my rent or whatever. Eventually, that's going to go up. My rent continues to go up. And once I set in a mortgage cost, it stays the same. Or if interest rates come down later, I can refinance and it goes down. So
bring it down. Yeah.
That's right. So realistically, it's always a good time to buy as long as I can afford the payment. I'm comfortable with the payment that I'm making. Eventually, it's going to be less than rent. It just is.
Yeah, all you got to do, that's that other historic thing. If you look over the past, I think the graph is 50 years. It might only be 30, but I think it's 50. I have it somewhere, but it shows rent increasing dramatically, especially in a time like right now. It's shooting up, not at a normal rate. It's shooting up because right now the landlords know that people need a place to live, and there aren't many rentals and there aren't many houses to buy. And so they take advantage of that and raise the rent. Twice in history has there been a decrease in rent, and both times that there was a decrease in rent, it was for just about that long. Just about that long. And then it went right back up to where it was overnight. And
then
like
it keeps rising.
You get into a house and a fixed mortgage, your rate is your rate is your rate. And let's see, how did the landlord buy his? Oh yeah, with the mortgage. Who's paying that mortgage? Oh yeah, you are.
That's right.
And when he raises the rent, who gets the extra money? Oh yeah, he does.
Right. That's right. That's right. Right. It's like that article that we had emailed about recently, is that if I want to start increasing my net worth, I have to stop renting, because every month I'm putting, even $2,000, which in most places in California is not going to cover your rent. But even if it's $2,000 every month, I now am putting $2,000 basically in a savings account. Like that is going into the equity in my home that I have to show for it, versus that $2,000 that, like you said, I'm basically throwing away. As far as it concerns me, I'm paying somebody else's mortgage. And so they're getting rich off of my month payment. Whereas I could be saving for whatever it is. If I get enough equity in there, then I can, remodel my house. I can use it for whatever, or best case scenario, pay off the house. And now I have, in California, we're usually looking at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 at least. That is now mine. It's just sitting right there. That's my investment. And it doesn't lose value the way like car or something does it. It's always substantial.
Always increasing. Wasn't it Mark Twain that said, "Buy land, they're not making any more."
That's right. That's right. So yeah, it's such a good investment. Like I said, if you can get in, you just need to do so.
Yeah, exactly. So you also sent me an email about a program that you guys donate to all the time. What was that about?
Yeah, so it's called TAPS, TAPS, and it stands for Tragedy Assistant Program for Survivors. And so basically what that does is it's for the families of military who have passed away either in action, or a lot of people maybe do or don't know this, that a lot of times veterans have a high suicide rate. And so there's a support for the families of military veterans who are survivors for whatever reason that the military has passed away. And it provides programs, first of all, suicide awareness programs. So letting people know, I think a lot of times veterans, of course, they're taught and they have to really, when they're in combat situations, not really acknowledge their feelings, and they certainly aren't sharing about them because they're kind of having to focus and not really be afraid and not really be vulnerable. And so when they come back and are now civilians, they don't know how to process the things that they've been through. They don't know how to change that mentality to saying, I am scared, or I am anxious, or I'm hurting. And so this charity, it addresses that for not just somebody who might be in that situation, but family members who might notice that their loved ones are in that situation. And then also the aftermath of that situation. And so there are youth programs as well, so that the kids can get involved with other children who have had this type of thing happen to them. And it's like a lot of fun. It's not like they're just sitting in groups and, talking about their feelings, crying. There's like rafting trips and all kinds of stuff. So it's like more of a community. So there's a lot of events where these people are getting to be in community with other people who know what they're going through and have known their struggles. So
very, very admirable. That is great because yes, a lot of people do not realize how high the suicide rate is compared to the normal suicide rate of veterans. And it is, a lot to do with the training. And I don't know the percentage, and I wouldn't even claim to know the percentage of female veterans that commit suicide compared to male veterans that commit suicide. My guess would be that males are higher because we're taught that from this high.
Yeah.
Don't cry. Don't be a baby. Don't
be a man.
Don't be a man. Man up. Grow a pair.
Right.
I mean, all the things that we men hear growing up and in day-to-day life, that when you've been through something as traumatic as combat, and I haven't, so I can't speak to it from a personal side, other than I do know many veterans that have, and I know what they deal with because I'm an open kind of person, and a lot of people lean on these big shoulders that God gave me, and I am one that stands out all the time and says, you need something. God gave me these big wide shoulders for a reason. It is to pack a load, and if you need some help, come see me. It taps when you sent it over to me. I went, wow, that is great. And I wanted to make sure that we spoke of it today, and I thank you for making me aware of it, and then for everything that you're doing with them. That's a wonderful, noble charity that there's not enough of that kind of stuff out there.
Yeah, definitely. And luckily, I think the older we get as a society, the more that is trending, that it's okay to talk about our feelings, and the idea that, men have to be strong and women can be vulnerable. Like, these lines are starting to disappear and blur, and thankfully that's true, and people talk more about mental health and mental illness than they ever did before. Like, our generation, these things weren't talked about, these things weren't acknowledged, and nowadays it's like kids are growing up knowing that, like, that it's okay to feel, and it's okay to express feelings, and in fact it's encouraged, and that it's stronger to be able to cry in front of people. Like, vulnerability, intimacy, these things are strengths, not weaknesses. But it is so important that we really do that. I mean, my husband, he is actually a combat veteran, and he does have a lot of anxiety because of that, and he doesn't even like to admit that that's what it's from. Kind of saying like, oh no, I kind of always felt this way. And, but, really working on saying like, it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to be anxious, that's understandable based on what you were doing and
Right.
experiencing. Like, if you feel depressed and you feel anxious and you feel whatever you're feeling, like, these things are really important to be able to express. It's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to talk to your families about how you're feeling. If you need medication, that's okay too. Like, none of these things make you weak or different or like unacceptable in society. Like, it's just absolutely okay to seek help in that way. And so hopefully more and more veterans are getting that idea and not having to like shoulder this burden alone. Like you said, you're like allowing them to be on your shoulders. Like, I think all of us as a society can accept a lot more these days that a soldier is still a person, and a Marine is still a person. Like, that these people still have feelings and they need to be treated as such. So.
Right. Now it's been shown that it is a problem. It is something that they have had to deal with, where in earlier wars, when they came back, it was not anything other than shell shock.
Right.
They couldn't handle it because it was shell shock.
That's right.
It wasn't something that they were actually dealing with. It was that they couldn't deal with shell shock.
Right. They just need to snap out of it. Take
Snap
some time
out
to
of it,
snap
yeah.
out of it. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
And like nowadays, at least when they come back, they have those, things in place where, there's numbers you can call. The VA's providing therapy and psychiatry, and that doesn't mean that you're crazy or broken or anything.
Right. Yeah, I had a really good friend he was a Vietnam vet, and he was always aggressive, overly aggressive. And I dealt with him. He was is still a really, really good friend of mine, but he was always ready to go, right? Just ready to go. And he was at the Veterans Hospital for whatever, and I don't even remember. It had nothing to do with his PTSD. It had to do with whatever he was there for, and he flipped out. And one of the doctors witnessed it and pulled his wife to the side and said, "Does he do this? Does he do this? Does he do this?" She goes, "Yeah, every one of them." And he was able to get treatment and is genuinely a better person now.
Good. Yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of times it's not a personality. That's not who they are.
Right.
They're just struggling. They're hurting. And if somebody can recognize that and help, that's okay. I mean, it can save not only their life, but also the lives of the people around them, because they're serving with them, they're struggling with them, and they're left behind when they don't survive.
Yep. Exactly. Well, Michelle, as always, it is such a pleasure to have you on. You always bring a ton of information, a great conversation. I really appreciate you and the Hero Loan team for everything you guys do. Everybody, look into TAPS. Look into TAPS. I have. It is a great, admirable thing to be donating to. Michelle, thank you and the Hero Loan team for bringing it to my attention. I've always been a supporter. You say your husband's a veteran. Have you heard of the American Soldier?
I have not. No.
It is a one-man show done
Oh,
by Douglas Terrell.
okay.
And Douglas Terrell is not a vet himself. He got into looking at history, and he does a one-man show that goes from the American Revolution to Afghanistan, I think is the last one, but he
Oh.
plays the role of veterans, children, wives.
Oh.
It is an amazing show. He's an amazing individual, and he travels around the country doing this show, The American Soldier.
That sounds really great.
I was a sponsor for him when he came here to California several years ago. But yeah, it's a great thing, and our veterans need our help, need our support, and anything that we can do to acknowledge them, I feel we need to do. It breaks my heart to see our veterans homeless and without, when in fact we're housing and giving people that have nothing to do with us money and everything. It just kills me. But I thank you again for coming on, being there for the heroes, not only the veterans, the first responders, the teachers, the medical, those that serve us. You guys serve them well, and I really appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ray. I always enjoy this, and I hope to see you again next month.
Yep, we'll be on next month. Everybody, you go out and be the sunshine in somebody's rainy day. Click the like, subscribe, or whatever below. Make sure and be the sunshine in somebody's rainy day. And never forget to see Ray to find your perfect home. Thanks again, Michelle.